During June 2025, the air defense of the Ukrainian Defense Forces destroyed 4,758 Russian air targets. American-made F-16 fighter jets, capable of engaging both cruise missiles and Shahid-type drones, have joined the air defense effort. Soviet-era MiG-29 and French Mirage 2000 jets are also being used to target incoming aerial threats. In addition to intercepting missiles and drones, Ukrainian aircraft have been striking Russian command posts, logistics hubs, and concentrations of troops and equipment. This was reported by Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Ukraine's military regularly strikes military targets in Russian-occupied territories and deep within Russia in an attempt to diminish Moscow's fighting power as it continues its war against Ukraine. These strikes are another example of Ukraine's growing ability to carry out precision attacks against high-value Russian military infrastructure, despite technological disadvantages and contested airspace. Among the downed targets are 8 aeroballistic missiles Kh-47M2, Kinzhal, 93 cruise missiles Kh-101/Kh-55SM, 14 ballistic missiles, Iskander-M/Kn, 23, 12 caliber cruise missiles, 13 guided air missiles Kh-59-69, 27 Iskander-K cruise missiles, 2,453 Shahid-type attack UAVs, 659 reconnaissance UAVs, 1,479 UAVs of other types. In June of this year, the aviation of the Ukrainian armed forces destroyed air targets, and also hit command posts, logistics facilities, and accumulation points of enemy manpower and equipment. The sharp rise in interceptions comes amid a surge in Russian aerial attacks. On June 29 alone, Russia used more than 500 air-launched weapons in a single combined assault on Ukraine. Over the past week, Russia has fired more than 114 missiles and deployed over 1,270 drones of various types across Ukrainian territory. To counter the attacks, the Ukrainian military has increasingly relied on combat aircraft, including both jets and helicopters. In addition to these air suppression tasks, Ukraine's aircraft have carried out more than 220 ground attack and air support missions during which they struck command posts, logistics facilities, as well as concentrations of enemy personnel and equipment. This effort has not come without a cost. During the intense June 29 attack, Lieutenant Col Maxim Ustimenko became the third Ukrainian F-16 pilot to lose his life in combat and his aircraft the fourth of the 85 or so F-16s that Kiev's allies have provided. The other pilot fatalities were of Lieutenant Colonel Alexei Moonfish Mess on August 26, 2024, and 26-year-old pilot Pavlo Ivanov, who was killed during a combat mission on April 12, 2025. In a more unconventional tactic, the Ukrainian Air Force has deployed Yak-52 piston-engine aircraft to intercept Russian reconnaissance drones.
Over 9,300 Russians were knocked out of combat in a single month. Ukraine's General Staff reports that this number of soldiers Russia lost on the Slobozansky and Kursk axes in June 2025 alone. Russia's Kursk Oblast front remains highly active, with both Russian and Ukrainian forces conducting offensive and defensive operations. Ukrainian forces are halting Russian advances in the bordering Sumy Oblast and stabilizing the front line. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has reported that 52,000 Russian troops are stationed on this front. Of these, over 4,470 are irreversible losses. Another 4,800 were wounded and 42 Russian troops were captured. Euromaidan press media outlet says Ukrainian forces also destroyed 423 units of Russian equipment, including 6 tanks, 20 armored vehicles, 89 artillery systems and MLRS, as well as 3 air defense systems. The General Staff notes that Ukrainian units conducted deep strikes up to 100 kilometers behind enemy lines, including on Russian territory. These strikes hit 16 command posts, 6 manpower concentration areas, 3 ammunition depots, and even a logistics hub and an oil depot. Since the start of the Kursk operation in August 2024, Russia has lost over 75,860 troops in this sector, with 1,037 captured. Additionally, Ukrainian forces have destroyed 2,842 pieces of equipment, including 99 tanks, 709 armored vehicles, and 322 artillery systems and MLRS. As Russian troops continue to hold an advantage on the ground, Ukraine has been keen to level the power in the air. In 2024, Ukrainian forces bet on drones hitting targets thousands of kilometers deep inside Russia. Ukrainian attacks have targeted dozens of oil refineries that aid Russia's war efforts, arms depots, weapon production plants, as well as military airfields harboring Moscow's air force. Strikes deep inside Russia would not stop the war, but are said to have slowed down Russian advance, hindered logistics, and pushed arms depots further east. Russia's outdated air defense systems, which are mainly designed to protect against large targets such as missiles or aircraft, do not always identify drones. Ukraine, producing long-range drones from scratch, managed to create thousands of them within a year. Ukrainian officials don't publicly confirm drone attacks, with the approximate number of unmanned aerial vehicles launched can only be estimated based on Russian reports, local independent media, or social media.
Ukraine reportedly struck a Russian ammunition depot in the town of Kharkiv in occupied Donetsk Oblast on July 2, Russian Telegram channels reported. Videos posted on social media purportedly show massive explosions near the reported ammunition depot, located just east of the Russian-occupied city of Donetsk. Analysts of the Ukrainian OSINT channel, Kyiv, reported that ammunition for anti-aircraft defense systems, rocket artillery, and barrel guns were stored at the facility. The warehouse was disguised as an abandoned industrial storage of explosives and was covered by the anti-aircraft missile complex Tor. Ukraine's military has not commented on the reported attack. No information was immediately available as to the extent of the damage caused. Ukraine's military regularly strikes military targets in Russian-occupied territories and deep within Russia in an attempt to diminish Moscow's fighting power as it continues its war against Ukraine. On the evening of June 30, Ukraine similarly struck a command post of the 8th Combined Arms Army of the Russian Armed Forces in the Russian-occupied part of Donetsk Oblast. Russia has for months focused its offensive efforts on the embattled town of Pokrovsk in Donetsk Oblast and has recently been escalating attempts to break through to neighboring Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, a region that has not yet seen combat. The destruction of ammunition depots of Russian troops, in particular in the deep rear, in the temporarily occupied territories, is an extremely important task for the armed forces of Ukraine. This helps to reduce the intensity of shelling of Ukrainian positions. It is likely that the Russian military facility was struck by several precision-guided missiles. Recently, explosions have taken place at a Russian ammunition depot east of Moscow, the country's defense ministry has said. The blasts occurred in an ammunition warehouse at a defense facility in the western Vladimir region. Russia's military blamed the blast on ammunition which had detonated after the storage building caught fire due to a violation of safety requirements. In a statement, Russia's Ministry of Defense said, as a result of a fire on the territory of a military unit in the Vladimir region, ammunition stored in a warehouse detonated. The cause of the fire is a violation of safety requirements when working with explosive materials. It added that there had been no casualties.